Hey guys, this is Mrs. Tran-Bloom. I'm going to pick up where we left off. So last video, we ended with example 4, A, B, C, and then you were supposed to do D on your own. And we did this piece as a warm-up. So right now, we're going to continue with 6.3, although I do have a couple of changes though. Notice how this is also example 4. Can you please change that to example 5? Okay, then change the next couple examples, obviously, to this is now example 6, and this is now example 7. Look at that. Okay, so it's 7 examples all in one section. So that's how important this section is, okay? So this one says, let's read the direction, okay? Find the exact value. That means, can you use a calculator? No, you may not use a calculator, okay? So find the exact value. By now, you need to know what the exact value of sine 45 degrees is. Sine 40 degrees times tangent of 45 degrees. Sine 45 degrees times tangent of 45 degrees. Sine 45 degree is going to be rad 2. I just wrote rad 3, but it's rad 2 over 2. Okay, sine of 45 degrees is rad 2 over 2. Tangent of 45 degrees is 1. And if you ask me how do I know that, you need to have the unit circle memorized by now. So rad 2 over 2 times 1 is going to be rad 2 over 2, and this is my final answer for sine of 45 times tangent of 45 degrees. Now we're going to do B. Secant of pi over 4, and again from the unit circle we know that secant is going to be the reciprocal of cosine. Cosine of 45 degrees, or pi over 4, is rad 2 over 2. So if I were to take the reciprocal of that, okay, let me spell this out. Cosine of pi over 4 is going to be rad 2 over 2. Then if I were to take the reciprocal of that, because that's what secant is, secant of pi over 4 is going to be simply rad 2 times cotangent of pi over 4. Well, cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, and tangent of pi over 4 is always 1. So if you take the reciprocal 1, it's going to be 1. So rad 2 times 1 is going to be rad 2. Okay. Then I'm going to do one of these, and then I'll leave one for you to do, okay? And so here we go. Which one should we do? Sorry, my wires. My computer wires are all. Anyway, secant of 2 pi, take away cosecant of pi over 3, or 3 times cosecant of 2 pi over 3 plus cotangent of 3 pi over 4. I'll do this one. You do this one. This one looks a little bit scary. Alright, so 2 pi over 3. Where on earth is 2 pi over 3? And by now, if you have not gotten the unit circle memorized, you're kind of going to be in trouble. Okay, and so if I were you, I would spend some quality time understanding what the unit circle and the trig functions for the unit circle. 2 pi over 3. A pi over 3 is 60 degrees. So 2 pi over 3, here's 1 pi over 3, and here is 2 pi over 3. So if I were to make a reference angle for that, my reference angle is going to be a 60 degrees. Opposite of 60 degrees is rad 3. Hypotenuse is 2. Opposite of 30 is 1. I'm in quadrant number 2, so cosine is negative. So that means x is negative. So cosecant. So it says, hey, 3 times cosecant of 2 pi over 3. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So if I can find sine of 2 pi over 3, I can find cosecant. Sine is going to be opposite over hypotenuse, which is rad 3 over 2. And if I were to go and multiply, take the reciprocal, so cosecant is 2 over rad 3, and we can rationalize that later. Plus cotangent of 3 pi over 2, and let's figure out what 3 pi over 2, I'm sorry, not 3 pi over 2, 3 pi over 4. A pi over 4 is a 45 degrees. So here's 1 pi over 4, here's 2 pi over 4, and here is 3 pi over 4, and looks like we're back in quadrant 2. So that means this is a reference of 45 degrees. 45 degrees, x is 1, y is also 1, but because I'm in quadrant 2, x is negative. and your hypotenuse is rad 2. Cotangent is going to be the reciprocal of tangent, and tangent in quad 1 is going to be negative 1. Well, the reciprocal of negative 1 is also negative 1. So if I multiply this through, I'm going to have a 3 over 1. So 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times rad 3 is rad 3. Take away 1. I can't leave it like this, so I have to find the common denominator. Okay. First, let's just rationalize this. I'm going to multiply top and bottom by rad 3. So that means I have 6 rad 3 all over 3. Take away 1. 1 is going to have a denominator of 3. So that's like 1 over 1. So if I multiply by the denominator by 3, then the numerator's got to be multiplied by 3. So now if I put it together, I have 6 rad 3 take away 3 all over 3. Now, but I'm not really done because I need to simplify, right? So if I were to simplify this, would you agree that on the top, I can factor out a 3? So if I factor out a 3 on the top, I'm going to end up with a 2 rad 3 minus 1 all over 3. And if you look at this, we can reduce the 3 and the 3. So my final answer is going to be 2 rad 3 take away 1. And this is my final solution. Okay. So go ahead and take a moment to complete C on your own. And keep in mind that I will be checking for all of these blank spaces, okay? Or anything that says on your own. Just pause it right now, guys, and just try to do it on your own. And then before the start of class tomorrow, can you please ask me what the correct answer is or how to do it if you are struggling. Now, if you're struggling, then I should see you in tutorial. Am I right? Okay. So just hit pause right now and do it. Thank you. Alright, so thank you for completing the problem prior that says on your own. Example 6, use a calculator to find the approximate value of each expression, rounded to 2 decimal places. Okay, this is so important that I want you to pause right now and go get a calculator, because you cannot, like I said, it looks really easy, but I promise you, you're going to get the easiest question wrong on your quiz or your test, and you're going to hit yourself in the head. Alright, so go ahead and get a calculator out. Hit pause. Go get it. Okay, so here's my calculator. Now, for this particular problem, it's so easy, but you need to know when you need to change your calculator to a degree mode and when to change it to a radian mode. So there's the button on your calculator here. Under the window, there's a button called mode. Hit mode. Notice how this one says 48 cosine of 48 degrees. Make sure your calculator has the degree right here highlighted. Okay. If it's not, if it's highlighted in radian, your answer is going to be completely wrong. So make sure go to degrees, hit enter, and if you move up and down, make sure that's highlighted, and hit second quit, which is mode again. Okay, so now you're here. So if you enter in cosine, which is 1, 2, the third column over, fourth button down, says cosine, 48, because the calculator is not going to have a bubble to represent degrees. You need to know that this is already in degrees. And it says round to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to go 0.67. Okay, so cosine of 48 degrees is about 0.67. Okay, so let's talk about this one. Should I change my mode in 2 degrees or should I change it to radians? This one's read cosecant of 21 degrees. So it has to be in degrees. Okay, so hit mode. It's already in degrees from example A, so I don't have to change it. I just have to second quit. Okay. Now cosecant, let's check it out. You have a button that says sine. You have a button that says cosine, and you have a button that says tangent. Do you see a button that says cosecant? No, you do not. So you need to know how to use your inverse function. So cosecant of 21 degrees, and cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So you have to do sine of 21 degrees and then divide it. Or you can just do 1 divided by sine of 21 degrees. Okay? And let me talk to you about this. Sine of 1 divided by. So hit 1 divided by sine of 21 degrees. Close your parentheses and hit enter. You have a 2.2 decimal places, so 2.79. Okay? So this answer comes out to be 2.79, and box that up because I have work on there. Last problem in example 6. Tangent of pi over 12. Do you see a bubble? No, you do not. I do not have a bubble shown. So as you know, by default, this is in radians. And if I hit mode, notice how this is not highlighted. Okay, so I need to go to radians and highlight radian. Hit enter, second quit. Oops, second quit, it doesn't want to quit. Here we go. Hit tangent. I do have a button tangent here, so hit tangent, hit second, pi, and then divided by over 12 and close it. So tangent of pi divided by 12. Hit enter. It wants it to 2 decimal places, so this is about 0.27. And those are the easiest quiz problems you're ever going to get if you know how to use your calculator. Okay. All right, we can breathe because this is the last problem of this section. So example 7. F of theta equals sine of theta, and g of theta equals cosine of theta. Find the exact value of each if theta is 30 degrees. Do not use a calculator. So now put your calculator away. So first it says, hey, go and find f of theta. Well, theta is how many degrees? 30 degrees. So I'm going to write f of 30 degrees. And I gave you 2 functions to begin with. I gave you an f function and a g function. So which one should we use? F, of course. So I'm going to use f, which is sine of theta, but my input is 30 degrees. So sine of 30 degrees, and hopefully by now, you have this all memorized, what 30 degrees is, what 45 degrees is, and what 60 is, because they are all so easy, right? And if you don't have it memorized, I will draw your triangle. Here's 30 degrees in a 30, 60, 90. Here's 60 degrees. Opposite of 30 degrees is 1. Opposite of 60 degrees is 3. And hypotenuse is 2. So 30 degrees, I'm looking at this. Sine, which is opposite, over hypotenuse. So it's 1/2, right? Alright, I'm going to leave B for you to do on your own. And then I will complete C with you. Okay. It says find g of theta and then square it. Or you can read find the square of g of theta. So first we know theta is going to be still the same, 30 degrees. Once I have found an answer, then all I got to do is square it. So here we go. Well, again, I gave you 2 functions to start with, an f and a g. This one, I'm going to use my g function. So cosine of 30 degrees. Whatever the answer is, I'm going to square it. Okay? And I'm still going to use the same triangle. Here's 30 degrees. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So I have cosine of 30 degrees is going to be rad 3 over 2. So that's my answer. And whatever I get, I square it. So rad 3 squared is going to be 3. 2 squared is going to be 4. Therefore, my answer is 3 over 4. Now your job is complete this one for me. And just to give you a hint, your final answer is not negative. Okay, so this is on your own. And a hint is your final answer is going to be positive. So make sure you work it out right and then ask me in class next time how to do it or what the correct answer is. And this is the end of our notes. Have an awesome day.